Picture this. You're sitting in a VIP section on a private airline, first-class comfort, glass of sparkling water in hand, ready for a flight to your company's biggest conference. You've earned the seat. Years of hard work, late nights, sacrifices, and finally, you're the CEO, the boss, the one at the top. But before takeoff, a flight attendant taps your shoulder and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, this seat isn't for you." You show your ticket. It clearly says VIP. You show your ID. It says Dr. Maya Brooks, CEO. But still, she insists you move. Why? Because she assumes someone like you couldn't possibly belong there. That moment, quiet, humiliating, infuriating, is where this story begins. What the crew didn't know was that the woman they tried to remove wasn't just any passenger. She owned the company that chartered the entire flight. And when the truth came out, the entire crew learned a lesson they'd never forget. But here's the twist. What happened after she revealed who she was shocked everyone on board. This isn't just another story about racism. It's a story about power, grace, and poetic justice. So don't blink, because when Dr. Brooks stood up, she didn't just reclaim her seat. She turned the whole flight upside down. Stay till the end, because the final line she said before leaving that plane will give you chills. Atlanta International Airport, 7:15 a.m. The morning rush was in full swing. Travelers hustled through the terminal, dragging suitcases and sipping overpriced coffee. In the middle of the crowd walked Dr. Maya Brooks, 39 years old, CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech firms in the country, Innovexa Global Systems. She wasn't flashy. Her style was elegance with confidence, a navy blue business suit, diamond stud earrings, and a leather briefcase. She moved with the calm certainty of a woman who knew exactly who she was. Today was important. She was headed to a major conference in Los Angeles where she'd be unveiling a groundbreaking new product. Innovexa had just signed a partnership with a top European investor, and the company's future depended on this deal. Her assistant, Tanya, had already checked her in. Dr. Brooks was flying on a chartered VIP flight, a special arrangement made by her company. It wasn't commercial. It was exclusive, the kind of flight designed for executives, investors, and board members. When Maya arrived at the private terminal, the airline's representative greeted her politely but stiffly. "Good morning, ma'am. Name, please?" "Maya Brooks," she replied with a smile. The representative typed quickly, glanced at her screen, then back up. "Ah, you're on the VIP list. Right this way." So far, so good. Inside the jet, the cabin smelled of leather and fresh coffee. There were only 12 seats, 6 of them recliners marked VIP only. Maya took her assigned seat, 1A, right next to the window. She opened her laptop, ready to review her presentation slides. Moments later, a white man in his 50s boarded. He was loud, confident, and clearly used to being in charge. His name tag read Richard Nolan, a corporate attorney. He was flying to the same conference, as a guest of one of Innovexa's investors. He stopped near Maya's seat, frowned, and said, "I think you're in the wrong place." Maya looked up slowly. "I don't think so. This is the VIP section," he said pointedly. "I'm aware," she said, turning back to her laptop. A flight attendant, Laura, hurried over. "Sir, is there a problem?" "Yes," Nolan said. "I believe this seat is mine." Laura looked at Maya. "Ma'am, may I see your boarding pass, please?" Maya hesitated but handed it over. Laura scanned it, clearly confused. "Seat 1A," she read aloud. Nolan smirked. "That's impossible. This section is reserved for executives and investors." Laura nodded uncertainly. "Ma'am, could you please move to seat 6C until we verify?" Maya's expression hardened. "No. That won't be necessary." "Ma'am, I don't want to cause a scene," Laura said, lowering her voice. "But this seat might be." "Mine," Maya interrupted. "And it is." Laura's tone sharpened. "Please cooperate or I'll have to call the captain." By now, a few other passengers were watching. Nolan crossed his arms, satisfied. "You see? She doesn't belong here. Maya closed her laptop and stood up slowly. Her voice was calm but firm. Call whoever you need to. I'm not moving. Laura turned and left to check the manifest. Minutes later, the captain himself arrived. Good morning, he said, clearly irritated. What seems to be the issue? Laura explained, pointing toward Maya. She's occupying a VIP seat that might not belong to her. The captain sighed. Ma'am, may I see your credentials? Maya handed over her boarding pass and ID. The captain glanced at them and froze. His eyes darted from the documents to her face. You're Dr. Brooks? Yes, she replied. Is there a problem? He swallowed. You're the Dr. Brooks, CEO of Innovexa? Last I checked, yes. Laura looked confused. I don't understand. You will, Maya said, her tone icy but composed. This flight is operated under a contract with Innovexa Global Systems. Which means... The captain finished the sentence for her, voice trembling. You technically own this flight. The cabin went silent. Richard Nolan's smirk vanished. Laura's face turned pale. And Maya? She simply sat back down, crossed her legs, and said softly, Now, if there are no more questions, I'd like to review my presentation in peace. The captain muttered an apology. Of course, Dr. Brooks. I'll inform the crew. Laura stammered. Ma'am, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Maya looked up, eyes sharp as glass. You didn't ask? The flight took off on schedule, but the mood in the cabin was tense. No one spoke to Maya. The attendants barely made eye contact. Maya worked quietly, pretending to ignore the whispers behind her. But she was taking mental notes, every word, every gesture, every tone. She'd built her company from the ground up. She'd fought to be taken seriously in boardrooms filled with men who underestimated her. But this? Being told she didn't belong in her own VIP seat? That was beyond disrespect. It was symbolic of everything she'd overcome. Midway through the flight, Laura approached nervously with a drink. Ma'am, can I get you anything? Champagne, maybe? Maya didn't even look up. Just water. And professionalism. Laura flushed, mumbling. Of course. Across the aisle, Richard Nolan couldn't resist another comment. You know, misunderstandings happen. No need to make it racial. Maya turned slowly. Was it a misunderstanding when you assumed I couldn't be an executive? He shrugged. You can't blame people for being surprised. Maya's reply was calm, surgical. I don't blame people for being surprised. I blame them for being small-minded. The rest of the flight was quiet. But when they landed in Los Angeles, the real story began. As passengers disembarked, 2 airline executives were waiting near the terminal, visibly nervous. Word had spread. They'd received a message mid-flight. The CEO of their most valuable corporate partner had been removed from her VIP seat by their own staff. Dr. Brooks, one of them said carefully. We are so sorry for this terrible mistake. Maya smiled politely. We'll discuss it. In person. 2 hours later, she sat in a glass-walled conference room with the airline's senior management team. Laura and the captain were there too, pale, silent, terrified. Maya placed her tablet on the table and pressed play. On screen was security footage from the terminal, showing exactly how she'd been treated. The moment Laura demanded she move, the condescending tone, Nolan's smirk, all of it. I don't raise my voice, Maya said softly. I raise evidence. The airline's CEO cleared his throat. We understand, Dr. Brooks, and we're deeply sorry. She cut him off. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to every person who's ever been told they don't belong in a space they earned. The room was silent. Then she said the words that would later make headlines. Effective immediately, this crew is dismissed from any future Innovexa chartered flights. Laura gasped. You're firing us? Maya looked at her steadily. I'm not firing you from your airline. I'm firing you from my world. The captain spoke up. Dr. Brooks, please. No, she said. You don't get to ask for understanding after giving none. The airline's CEO nodded quickly. We'll take full disciplinary action. But Maya wasn't done. I'm implementing new partnership standards, she said. Any airline we work with must train every employee in diversity and bias awareness. You have 6 months to comply, or Inivexa walks. The CEO swallowed hard. Understood. Maya stood, gathering her tablet. Good. Because equality isn't a favor. It's a requirement. As she left the room, reporters outside tried to catch a word. One shouted, Dr. Brooks, what do you have to say about what happened on your flight? She stopped, turned slightly toward the cameras, and said calmly, I wasn't angry because they didn't recognize me. I was angry because they didn't see me. That quote spread across news outlets worldwide. #SeeMe trended for weeks. Thousands shared their own stories of being profiled, underestimated, or dismissed. But perhaps the most surprising twist came a month later. Laura, the same flight attendant, wrote Maya a handwritten letter. Dr. Brooks, I was wrong. I judged you by what I saw, not who you are. I've lost sleep over that moment. I've since joined a program that helps young women of color enter the aviation industry, because I realized how blind I was. Thank you for opening my eyes. Maya read it, folded it carefully, and smiled. She never replied. She didn't need to. Her message had already taken flight. What Dr. Maya Brooks faced isn't just a story, it's a mirror. Every day, someone is told they don't belong. Every day, someone is underestimated for their color, their gender, their background. But stories like this prove something powerful. When you've earned your seat, no one can take it from you, not with ignorance, not with bias, not with arrogance. So if this story hit you hard, do one thing right now. Click subscribe, hit like, and share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that belonging isn't granted, it's earned. Comment below. What would you have done if you were in Dr. Brooks' place? Would you have stayed silent, or spoken up like she did? Because silence never changes anything. Courage does. And remember, real power isn't loud. It's calm, confident, and unshakable. Just like Dr. Brooks. She didn't fight to prove she belonged. She simply took her seat. And that's exactly why they'll never forget her name.